What's up, guys? So this is the upcoming animation films video that I promised in my Disney Pixar films ranked video. So without further ado, let's just get straight into it. Alright, so I know in my Disney films ranked video I said that it was for the next 5 years. I've actually had a look, it's for the next 3 years, including the last 2 animated films of this year. So if we're including 2019, it's upcoming films for 4 years. So obviously finishing off this year, we've got Frozen 2 on November 22nd. That is obviously a Disney film. And then on Christmas, December 25, Blue Sky Animations is releasing Spies in Disguise. And that finishes us off for 2019. 2020, Paramount's is going to be distributing Sonic the Hedgehog on February 14th, Valentine's Day. We've got an animated film called Call of the Wild on February 21. It is a Fox film. I believe it will still be being distributed under the Fox banner while Disney sort of sorts out how it is that they're going to fully merge with all the Fox properties in with their own. Our next Pixar film is Onwards on March 6th. DreamWorks has got Trolls World Tour on April 17th. Pixar then has another one called Soul on June 19. Illumination is then going to give us Minions Rise of Gru on July 3. Obviously, from the name of that one, I can assume that it's finishing off the Minions run of films and sort of working its way into the first Despicable Me. Going to put an unpopular opinion out there, but I actually despise the Minions so much. So this is good news for me. There will no longer be any more Minions films, because they are just the stupidest things I've ever seen in my entire life. On November 25th, we've got another Disney film, Raya and the Last Dragon. There is no actual trailer for this. I was hoping that there would be. It was announced at D23, but obviously at the time I was focusing more on the Marvel stuff at D23. But Raya and the Last Dragon has a really cool concept to it. It kind of sounds to me like they're taking some inspirations from like Aladdin and Mulan and some of their like Middle Eastern / East Asian inspired animated films of years gone by, and giving us this new original story in a fictional location where dragons like created the world, is what I've heard about the plot. Dragons created the world and they've started to disappear, and obviously, as per the title, Raya is going to find the last dragon, which happens to be a water dragon. And yeah, it looks, the art for it makes this look like it's going to be a classical animation film. So it's not going to have the same sort of look as Frozen will have. It's going to have the same kind of look as like Princess and the Frog. And if that's the case, that makes me even more excited for it, because I really miss Disney's classical animation, especially since in more recent years they've been heavily saturating the animated films with their computer generated stuff like Frozen and Tangled and Wreck-It Ralph. So if it's going to be a classical animation, I'm really excited for that one. Croods 2 is then going to come out December 23, it obviously being a DreamWorks film, and then to be assigned a release date, we've got Sony's Wish Dragon. I think that's actually, we've got one other Sony film from what I can see, and so far I'm not entirely sure if they're planning a sequel to Into the Spider-Verse. I know that film did really well, and I know that Sony and Disney are working on their Spider-Man stuff at the moment, so it's not really surprising, but considering how well that film did, I'm kind of surprised that they haven't already gone, let's do another one of these, especially with the post-credit scene showing us that at least Miguel O'Hara's Spider-Man 2099 could be in a sequel. However, moving on, 2021, Blue Sky's got Nimona on March 5. From what I can tell, this film may not have the same style of animation as past Blue Sky films like Rio or Ice Age. This looks like it's going to have a closer to traditional animation, like hand-drawn style, as far as I can tell. I may be completely wrong there, but as far as that particular film goes, that's as much as I know. DreamWorks then has Boss Baby 2 on March 26th, so that's so far the only month that I know. That is incorrect. So far, both 2020 and 2021, the first months to have an animated film in them will have 2 animated films, with 2020 having Sonic and Call of the Wild, and 2021 having Nimona and Boss Baby 2. Pixar then has a date of June 18 set aside for an animated film. As to what that is, we don't know yet. They haven't released the title yet. So as far as we know, the only Pixar films we have coming are Onwards and Soul, both of those being 2020. The reason I bring up that we've got some untitled films here is because there is actually one that excites me. It does not have a release date in 2022, and I'm obviously going to be letting you know what the other dates in 2022 are. Illumination then has Sing 2 on July 2nd. The Addams Family 2 is on October 22nd of 2021. It is going to be distributed by Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. I didn't realise that there was an animated Addams Family film, otherwise I would have already watched it. So now the hunt begins for finding if it is on a streaming service at the moment, so that I can watch it, especially with Halloween literally like 3 days away. That'd be a good film to watch. November 24th has been set aside for a Disney film, obviously separating that from the Pixar film. As I mentioned earlier, this is going to be a wholly and solely just a Disney film, so it could be a sequel to one of their other animated films, could be a completely new one, or they might even just go completely outside the box and do an animated remake of a live action film. And honestly, if they do that, I think that that's going to start off a whole new craze in Hollywood, because obviously they've been taking all of their classical animated films, giving them live action remakes, but they haven't actually gone back and looked at their, and I know they did a sequel to Mary Poppins recently, but it'd be really cool, I think, if they went back, found one of their classic live action films, and remade it as an animated thing. I think that'd be kind of cool to see. But we'll find out closer to the date, obviously. Finishing off 2021, we've got Hotel Transylvania 4, which releases December 22nd, and it is also a Sony film. As I said, there are only 2 Sony films. Those were Wish Dragon, which doesn't have a date for 2020, and 3 days before Christmas for Hotel Transylvania 4, which honestly seems like it should be released around about the same time as Addams Family 2, purely because of its subject matter being more of a Halloween thing than a Christmas thing, unless of course the story involved is the characters of Hotel Transylvania celebrating Christmas, which could be interesting. Then in 2020, the dates that we have, and obviously which companies have set those dates aside: March 18th for a Pixar film, April 15th for a DreamWorks film, June 17th for another Pixar film, July 1st for an Illumination film, September 23 for another DreamWorks film, the only Disney film of the year on November 23, at least as far as the animation is concerned, and then December 21 for an Illumination film. And then the only film that's actually been named but doesn't have a release date is also an Illumination film. So we've got July 1st or December 21st for this film, potentially. That is assuming that they don't just add this as a separate one. We've got a Super Mario film coming. Illumination is going to be doing I think it's a remake of the last Super Mario movie that got made, but with Illumination's animation. That's going to be really cool. So yeah, we're going to get a Super Mario film in 2022, and assuming they don't add another date, I would like to see it by the July 1st. The July 1st date, which is their earliest one for that year, because I'm pretty keen to see that film. I think it would also be really cool if they had that to coincide with sort of another Mario game to come out around the same time. So maybe Mario Odyssey 2, if that's in production, just to sort of build up on the hype of it. Could be really cool. As well as you could potentially put in like a post-credit scene that advertises the game as like a sort of extended cutscene sort of thing. So many things I could do with that. But that is all of the upcoming films that I could find. Pretty much after Mario, it's the rest of it's just companies have set aside dates. In 2023, I think there was only 2 so far. So yeah, that's all we've got. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscription button and that notification bell if you want to see more videos like this. All of my social media links are in the description down below, as well as a link to the site that I used to get all of this information. From memory, I think it was just Wikipedia, but I could also be wrong. And yeah, with all of that out of the way, guys, night to A2, and I will check you all later.